Hello everyone and welcome to the Sick of Silence podcast. Today we hope to take you on an enlightening exploration of the fashion industry. I'm your host, Michaela Welch, and together we'll delve into the crucial issues that continue to exist within the fashion world and unpack ways we can incite much needed change. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sick of Silence podcast. Last episode was about diversity and inclusion, which my sister Maya was on. And now we've got one of my closest family friends, Bryanna.
Hi there, Bryanna.
Introduce yourself.
My name's Bryanna, currently going to school, university. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
So today we're talking about body image and size inclusivity within the fashion industry. So my first question to you, Bryanna, is, in a general sense, do you think the fashion industry has become more inclusive towards size?
Well, I think it's definitely a lot more inclusive than previously in other years. However, I do think it's kind of, not that it stopped evolving, but it got to a certain point maybe in 2012 or like maybe in 2020, and it hasn't really moved since then. It's kind of stayed quite in a still position.
Yeah, it's in a standstill.
Yeah.
It's not moved on.
And it's like, we've got like a few, we haven't got the major brands doing it. It's just small businesses, I feel like, at this point.
Oh, so you mean like the big fashion houses?
Yeah, the big fashion houses, they're the ones that need to start really using more.
So do you think fast fashion is inclusive then?
Fast fashion, yeah, definitely inclusive. However, obviously we don't want to be using fast fashion.
Okay, yeah. So do you think slow fashion brands also, now that we're on the topic, would be more inclusive because they're more tailored?
Yeah, I feel like, because the thing is, if we think about it this way, we are not actually going to be buying these expensive brands. It's the fast fashion that we can actually afford.
Okay, so that's
why
for our money bracket, they need to do that.
That's why I think they're so inclusive in these small fashions, because we are the ones that are actually buying it.
So fast fashion is becoming more inclusive because more people can buy it.
Yeah.
And slow fashion or the fashion houses, couture, they don't have to be as inclusive because less of the majority are buying. That's fair. Okay, so I've got some statistics because we come with facts only. Plus size representation made up just 0.6% of autumn-winter 23 looks. That means that was last year's shows because it's 2023 now. So London Fashion Week was the most inclusive, so not surprisingly, but that means compared to Paris, Milan, and New York, for example, London was the most inclusive. But only 7% of their looks were mid-size to plus size. And to clarify, for those who don't know, mid-size is a size UK 10 to 16, whereas plus size is 18 plus. That means out of 94% of the looks, only not even. Isn't that 99.4%?
Saying random
I thought it was 6%. No, it's 0.6. That's less than 1% what plus size looks.
That's crazy, yeah.
And basically, I got this statistics from Vogue Business, where they did a report, basically saying that this is one of the worst statistics they've seen, even though this was in 2022. So you think we'd be seeing the best numbers?
Yeah.
But we're not. So does this shock you?
It is, now you're saying the facts, it is a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there should at least be 1%.
Yeah, you think?
Maybe 5%, because like...
This is 18 plus. Mid-size, but even with mid-size, it's only 7%. So that's just like from size 10 to 18 plus.
Yeah.
10 plus, it's only 7% out. Like, what?
Because I'm thinking, who is shopping at these places? Because I'm thinking majority, I know it's 18 plus, right? Majority of adults are not going to be size 8s and size 10s.
Yeah, so mid-size is only 7. So even that, no, mid-size and plus size is only 7%. So it's just a fact of, so this doesn't shock you basically?
Well, in this generation, it does shock me.
It's shocking for the time.
Yeah, shocking for the time. I feel like we should be more evolved than we are now.
So this is on the runways. So what happens is from the runways, it trickles into what you see on the runway will go to the buyers in the showrooms, and then from that the buyers will take it to the brands. But if they're not making like patterns, for example, of bigger sizes, Are they really gonna go out of their way, the brand, to make patterns for this look? Or for example, when I found out, I was shocked. I thought I was gonna see a report that was like things were getting better. But considering the last episode with diversity and inclusion, it basically was the same thing, saying that diversity and inclusion is at the beginning of its life. Like it's not getting better at the moment. Also, they're saying that heroin chic is back. Do you know what that is?
You'll have to explain.
So in the 90s, like, you know Kate Moss?
Yeah.
When she was on the one that they called it heroin chic, like how skinny the models were, they were druggy and all that. And what they're saying is now BBLs are gone out of style and heroin chic is back.
You know why? Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
The butt is gone. The boobs are gone. That is why. That's why it's going out of fashion.
Yeah. Because
that's crazy.
What it shows is that bodies are a trend.
Yeah.
It comes in and out of style. I follow this, she's not a full-time model, she's a part-time model, and she said that she's going to castings and they're now saying they want 00 as the size and that they're not skinny enough and they need to lose more weight. So this is why we need to have conversations like this. But moving on, body positivity is what we hear a lot now. But people are saying that body positivity isn't helpful because bodies are scrutinized anyway.
Yes.
Even if you love your body, someone can still comment on it. So what they're saying is body neutrality is better because that says to accept your body and move on. Do you think that's true for yourself?
I personally feel like for myself, maybe, possibly yes. Because I feel like
you'd identify more with body neutrality or positivity. Because neutrality, I think I'm saying it right, is to accept your body and move on. But positivity means to love your body. So it's a question, do you love your body?
In my personal take, I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing because even speaking to my friends, they said the same thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely not there yet because once you love your body, then you can be at peace with it. And like if you're happy with that, size, or if you're happy with that look, then you can go on to find certain styles that fit that look, or you can work to, find yourself into a different
So you think loving your body would make you more comfortable in fashion?
Yeah, like 100%. But I think it's not the technique of, it's not the words of saying, I
accept it.
Yeah, but it's the fact that because of like the whole all of the trends and stuff like that, you're wearing what these other people that are not your body type are wearing.
And so you can't...
So then it just doesn't look right.
So you can't love it because the way they've made it is not for you.
Yeah, the way they made... You have to find your style so then you can be comfortable. But if it's impossible to find your style, without doing research and all that, it needs to be more simpler so people can love themselves and be happy.
At first I didn't get it. I thought, aren't they the same? But then I realized, yeah, I accept my body, but I don't love it because you're constantly hit with how your body should look. How even with makeup, you can push it with makeup in the fashion industry. Skin should look like this. Your hair should look like this. There was a time we didn't see curly hair on the runway or even like behind the scenes. They don't know how to do makeup or for dark skin.
Still, the black people, they bring the makeup to the shoot.
Yeah, they can't do the hair. You have to do the hair yourself. So it's like, even though you're consuming all this media that they're telling you love yourself, and at the same time, you can't because there's another trend, there's another clean girl aesthetic, there's another something, there's another, and it's just hard basically. So that's what brands are trying to move towards, showing. I don't know how they're going to do this because they're the ones perpetuating all the harsh views. But basically, what they're saying is, even though there is mid-size and plus-size representation. There is. I'm not going to say there's not. Would you say that? So there is?
Yeah, there is.
What they're saying is, and I think this is true, is that there's a perfect plus size. So there's a way you should look.
Yes. Okay. You got me into
what do you want to say about that?
Right. The way you should look. This is what I feel like. This is what I'm struggling with because it's like when you're plus size, it's like it's almost like slim thick rather than plus size. It's like you have to be chunky, but you have to be chunky in the right places and you have to be cinched in the waist still. And then But still, and it's just really hard. And then sometimes it's not that, and you're like a square, or like you're chunky and you're a square, and it's like I understand that is a good. That's a good. Yeah. I understand that is. I agree with that fully.
So in my research, what it was saying is in the 90s when mid-size and plus size representation was coming up, models were, pushing. We had to start from somewhere, so it went from like size 0s to size 6, then to size 8, then to size 10. Then what happened was we got to like size 12, size 14. I'm not sure if that's an American size or British size, but around that size. And they just decided this is good enough for the industry, and we're not pushing any further. We're not going beyond that, because I can make patterns for this, is what they were saying. I can make designs. I like this size. And then what's now happened is, especially because of, they literally name dropped the Kardashians in like the stuff I was researching. They want the BBL look, the small waist, but they don't want to cater to all plus size and mid-size bodies. And then what also happens is, they say plus size representation, but what they actually mean is mid-size, because there is a difference. I didn't know this before, but there is a difference. Mid-size, but closer to like a size 8, if that makes sense. So even though they're like, oh, this is plus size representation, it's actually, of course, these women who are doing these modeling, yes, props to them, but it's not, they're just not going the extra mile to be inclusive of everyone, which is what we want. And do you think that is an okay thing to demand?
I think it's more than okay to demand more, like more people to look at that look in a similar range to you. And like if I go shopping, I expect there to be clothes in my size or bigger, like, because I know I'm not the smallest person in the world. So I definitely think it's far from.
It needs to improve, basically. Yeah. So I found out, because I'm not a designer in fashion, I want to be more like an editor, more in communication, like doing podcasts. But what happens is it all starts in the showroom. It starts with the showroom sample. So what that normally is a size 2 or size 0. Well, not size 0, but probably size 2. And what they do is they adapt the pattern from there. So they increase, as we go on. But what happens is, as the size increases, it becomes more difficult to adapt, because they're trying to replicate a size 2.
Yeah.
And basically what they were saying is all designers need to do, not all they need to do, but it should be standard for them to not try and replicate a size 2, but to go out of their way to make different sizes as they go up and to make more patterns, basically. But they've never really catered to doing that. They never really done that before, so they don't want to do it now. That's where the issue starts, because if they've got no samples and no patterns, they can't then go to retailers and sell it in the shops. So if the samples are not good enough, you're not getting the clothes. And this is where the issue begins. How do you feel knowing that designers could be inclusive, but ultimately they don't want to? Or they'll have their one like size 12 and that's it.
It's just a bit disappointing, really. If the thing is, they are designers. They are so skilled to be able to make all these things. They can do it quickly. They can do it slowly. It shouldn't like halt your whole work to do like a little bit of research.
Yeah, it should be part of the process.
It should be part of the process. If you're gonna do hairdressing, you can't just like learn a bob. You have to learn the rest of the other styles. Yeah, not everyone is gonna want a bob.
That is true.
So it's just it's a little bit disappointing.
I think what I found most interesting is one of the reasons why they did start becoming more inclusive is because there was money in it. They saw that the market share of plus size, like selling the clothes, like how much money it makes, was going up. So then that's when they were like, okay, we're going to do this. Not necessarily out of the goodness of their heart. And I thought that was quite sad, because at the end of the day, everything leads back to capitalism. They don't want to spend the time doing these things. They don't want to spend the resources making more sizes. They rather do, quick, just like size, I guess, 0 to 6, maybe 0 to 8, which is, I just find, I don't know, I think the industry has a responsibility to cater to everyone, because then what that means is people who are just trying to find, plus size people who are just trying to find, let's say, clothes to go to work, suddenly no one is stocking blazers because no one can be asked to make a sample pattern that can accommodate them, and that's not fair.
And then if they try and find a smaller size that might fit them, it's deemed like inappropriate because it's hugging them too much, and then you get in trouble.
I think it's also yes with size, but there's also the issue with height. Now the fashion industry, you need to be tall, so they're now catering to tall people. So then there's also a case of when the size gets bigger, how is it meant to accommodate height? What about petite people as well?
I feel like they want people to be tall. However, I see,
you don't think
I feel like there's always people that complain about
it being too
it not going all the way up to their arms, like their full length, or like their legs in like maybe let's say fast fashion or whatever clothes they're buying. However, in the fashion industry, people are generally tall. So I'm not sure where
I think for fast fashion, it's because they're not on runways.
Yeah.
They cater more to smaller people. But maybe in like the fashion houses, it's different. But I think that's another step forward. Like we actually have to now start accommodating to height too. I think I think with when fashion hopefully gets slower, you can do that more to tailor your clothes or just to have like as a suggestion, 2 different sizes of the same product, one for taller people, one for short people.
And I feel like it's definitely a lot better in men for sizings.
Oh, you think sizing's better?
Yeah, I think sizing's better for men because when you buy women trousers, it is just a 16, 10, 12, that kind of thing. But for men, it is actually like 32. Then they have the different lengths, and it's
that is actually so true.
They do the waistband, they do the length. True. Women is just all the same size. Unless you're going to like a proper jeans place. It's one.
I remember shopping with my dad and seeing for suits and seeing like all these different and I thought, what? Like I was a bit confused because I've never seen this in the women's section. Which is interesting. Now we bring men up. I was going to bring up later, but my friend, I was speaking to him just before we came here, just because I wanted to bring them up too, because men, we do need to talk about them too. And he was saying that he thinks, from his perspective, that, for example, he was like, you can find lots of like 3XL, I think. He was saying he thinks you can find more bigger sizes. I don't really shop
smaller
men's
sizes.
No, just like compared to women.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was like, I have got jeans that are like so big and I wasn't expecting them to be that big, basically what he was trying to say. Don't have too much knowledge on this because obviously I don't shop menswear. But in the book I was reading, just to round up my knowledge, it was saying that menswear is behind women in being size inclusive. Mainly because men don't talk about it. I think that's because of the patriarchy and toxic masculinity. They don't talk about most things, so why would they talk about body image and size inclusivity as well? So when now women are getting more comfortable, our voices are getting louder, men are being left behind because they've just been taught to, this is what a man should be, this is how a man should look, you deal with it, you get on, you don't say anything. And honestly, what he said shocked me. It actually made sense to me because I think about the patriarchy a lot. But when he was speaking about his body image, he was saying he thought he was fat. And I was like, what? And he said that he just thought he was fat, and he didn't realize after doing some tests that his body mass was actually on the smaller size. And he was like, I just feel like there's a body type that I should strive to be. And I literally said to him, oh, do you think is that what you're trying to do? He said, yeah, next year I'm definitely losing weight, putting more muscle on, I'm doing this. I was like, okay, all right. I just didn't know what to say.
I do think so. Like in the fashion industry, you don't see men in a lot of tight clothes.
Yeah. So
it's mainly they like put like, let's say, massive oversized blazers or massive oversized baggy pants. Like it's never. And when you see men now, if they do want to wear like tight fitting clothes, it's either the muscle shirts that, hug to your muscles, or it's just like women clothes like that are really tight, like crop tops, or it's not really, there's not really a section for them to be in a smaller size or like in the middle kind of sizes. It's really just a big clothes. It's
everything is oversized. Everything
feeling comfortable.
I think with full size inclusivity for men, because if we're championing women forward, I do believe in equality for all. So we need to bring everyone up. We just need to have, I guess, more conversations with them as well. I just felt, because even my brother, he says things like, oh, he comes in my mirror and he says, I'm so fat. And I'm like, what? You're 11?
I was going to say, bear in mind, her brother is like
He's
tiny.
He's 11. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I've got to exercise more. I think society as a whole plays into it. But when you look at fashion media, because what happens is with fashion is, I feel like fashion is everywhere. And so like when you look at posters and stuff, I feel like when I look at the stuff for men, I feel like the women's stuff is more inclusive than men, like in terms of models, the models I see. And I just hope for all of us, for little girls and little boys, to make sure that they don't grow up with body issues, we need to, protect them too, because it's just sad.
I also feel like the sizings that they have are extremely outdated. So I think when I was younger, I don't think I was ever the size that it said on the clothes, like 11 to 12.
Yeah.
I was either like a 13 to 15, or I don't think, and I would be the same, like I might be the same like size or height as this another girl. But I think the sizes are so outdated where people were smaller back in the day than they are now at the same age. So I think that needs to be sorted. So it needs to go right back to the start.
Yeah, we need
sort that problem out so people don't grow up to like have issues.
Yeah.
And then, keep going forward, because we've definitely stopped.
For body image, I think it's now for our generation, social media. But what I was going to say is we got all the issues from when we were young. All the problems, the way we see our bodies, the way we think they should be. And now we're on social media projecting that image of what it should be. And so even if we are in these body positivity movements, internally, we're not comfortable. Internally, we're still striving for a certain image. I know when I was 11 in year 7, I would say to myself, okay, I'm not going to get more than 40 kg. I was like, I'm 40 kg now, I'm going to stay that way. And I remember thinking, I'm not losing my thigh gap, which is genetic. So I still have it, but it's genetic. So that doesn't even make a difference. But I remember thinking these in the mirror, and then even all my friends around me on diets.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
In year 7.
I was in a friend group of guys. So it wasn't crazy. I feel like girls on girls have the issue, because we're looking at these other girls and we're thinking, okay, we should be that size, why are they so small?
And you all, like at a young age, I went to all girls school, which is why, so when I say all the girls around me, I mean like my class. It wasn't everyone, because I wasn't friends with everyone, but the group I was surrounding myself in, they were like, I'm dieting right now. I knew a girl who was on a military diet. She had like banana for breakfast, egg for dinner, that kind of thing. And we just thought it was normal, and like people had eating disorders and all this stuff. And fashion definitely does play a part into it. So does family, and so does other media. But I feel like it all ties in. And I'm calling out one industry today, so I'm going to call out the fashion industry. Got to do better. We got to protect these next babies. Even my brother's Jen, like, he can't be saved now. He's indoctrinated. He wants to be skinny. Like, he doesn't think there's anything better. But we have to push on, which is why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So the next thing I was going to say is about intersectionality. So the face of the body positivity movement tends to be thinner, light-skinned women. And because Black women are typically more curvy, I was going to say that this like look of being like this, the plus size look that you should be, didn't become more desirable till Kim K did it. Yeah. Well, let me not name drop Kim K, but until the Kardashians.
Because we were already there doing it.
And how do you feel about this? The fact that maybe growing up, you're like, not your, but like our culture. So we're both Black, for those who may just be listening, is, it was not deemed desirable, but now it is, because it's a trend and now everyone wants BBLs. Or because like what I was reading is that typically a lot of Black queer women as well champion a lot of trends, but then we get left behind when if they're doing these if they are becoming more inclusive and they're doing these campaigns, you're seeing like light-skinned women. Like then colorism also plays a part. Dark-skinned women are not on the campaigns either. Like, just how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel just to hinder that point, I feel like if we're talking about like the demographic, I feel like they only, if in terms of Black women, they only use the darkest models.
Do you think only for inclusivity?
Not what? Yeah,
for size inclusivity, or just
in general, like for I feel like mainly the dark skinned models are quite small. Yeah, if that makes sense. And if they are doing the inclusivity, whenever I was younger, I used to see the adverts where they have really like a really pale model, or like just a white model, and then an extremely dark model. And that is, I don't think it hasn't really changed. Like, I haven't seen an in between, like my color, or like maybe like a little bit fairer than you, but like I'm not seeing like just like a brown, like.
You mean like a full mid-tone range of red, mid-tone to dark?
Unless it's like foundation, where they're just barely scraping by on foundations. But, you know, if there's still not been a gradual...
So it's not consistent?
It's not consistent at all. It's not good. I don't like it.
I think what happens is we're talking about before, me and Maya, is that they'll just pick one, for example, dark-skinned model, that they're like, okay, she's beautiful. We're just going to use her in everything. It's changing now. I think in terms of race, it's becoming more diverse in the industry. Yeah. But then what that means, if they have their token, well, you know, all props to, like, I hate saying this token model, like, she's done her dues, she's worked hard, but if they just have her and maybe she's a size 2 and they're just like, she's it, then plus sized other Black women, even other Asian women, there's just no space. Yeah, there's no space for them.
No chance, no.
Maybe with, not saying that plus size white women, like, it's not tough, because it will be tough, because that's how that's how it works. Like, you know, you got issues everywhere, but it might be easier for them to get a foot in the door because they're white, so they benefit from that white privilege. But it is getting better. Like, I don't like to be a negative person, but, you know, for the sake of this podcast, you gotta highlight the things. You gotta highlight it. It's getting better, because I hate to say there's no change. There is change, but the statistics say it's going back. But you never know. Maybe this year they'll be more inclusive. But what you were saying is true before. It's more the independent designers and the smaller designers that are pushing forward with size inclusivity. They are more likely. When I was looking at the statistics, they have more plus size representation and stuff like that. Which is interesting. When I worked at a fashion show, diversity in terms of race was pretty much there. There was like models of every race, every ethnicity. I was like, damn. But they were all stick thin. They were all skinny. There was no size variation. And he was a smaller, I think, designer. You know, I think again, it just goes back to the fact that I don't think they want to make different sample sizes. What happens is, even though maybe the fashion industry is, what happens is it trickles down. So the models are trying to be a size 0 because the industry's telling them that's what they need to look like. They come around in their everyday life, and they go on social media and they pose, and then celebrities are told, you know, you need to lose weight. And even though people are saying like, oh, you need to look, you don't have to, you know, we're becoming more inclusive. I think of Adele, where they cussed her out. She disappeared off the face of the earth. And now, she comes back skinny, and now they applaud her.
But they're cussing her still.
No, they're cussing her again for losing the weight.
Because I think people were upset because the curvier people, they looked up to Adele. However, it's not her responsibility for her on herself to take her responsibility to be their inspiration.
Yeah, that's true.
If she feels better like being like this, then that's her own. But she was still like,
I think no matter what people say, at the end of the day, internally, you've been indoctrinated between the ages of 2 and 7 to believe that skinny is better. So even if, you know, you accept yourself, I don't think it's gonna be hard to love yourself. And so then a lot of people, especially in the industry, like film as well, not just fashion, they end up losing the weight and then they come back. A lot of people applaud them, but as you said, I feel like now a lot of people are not against it, but they're like, okay, why did you change? So it's never good enough. Yeah. It's never okay, you know? And I think that it's just a trickle down. And I feel like the fashion industry contributes a lot to it. Film does, TV does,
Film is really bad in film as well, I think, because I think from a young age, you learn that the chunkier people or the curvier people, they die off quick in films.
In all films?
Not in all films,
Horror
but they're either funny or they die.
They've got their stereotypes.
Yeah.
You think with like Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, Pitch Perfect especially. Like,
Yeah, with
Fat Amy.
Fat Amy. And the way they introduced her, they're like, yeah, so I call myself Fat Amy, so the skinny bitches. Didn't she say that?
Yeah.
They don't. Which I thought was interesting. How do you feel about that? Do you think it was a good move?
Now she's small as well.
And now she lost, yeah.
Now she's small as well. And I you know.
Yeah, it's a hard topic to talk about because it's so personal to your own body and what you want for yourself. And then you have to think, okay, this is what the world's telling me. And this is, for me, I feel like subconsciously from what happens is you see, for example, they've lost the weight and you just think to yourself, okay, so even if I've got to lose the weight too, no matter what happens. Yeah. And then I'll be applauded and it will be better.
What you don't understand is not because that they have money that they can lose the weight, but sometimes you have access to more things when you're wealthier, or like even some people can't afford gym, or they have to do it at home, or like there's like this drug that was for diabetes.
Oh my God, is it in this that I
and
my
like
notes in?
Kim, that's what they're starting to use.
But there is a drug like,
and it's like
Ozeomic something. It's
maybe insert.
I had it in my research, but yeah, that, and it's really bad because there's now a shortage.
Yeah,
and people with diabetes can't get it.
And I think it's not accessible for everybody. So people then do these extreme diets. Like I did the IU diet.
Oh my God, what is it? It's just a banana, isn't
it? The IU diet is
K-pop. This is a K-pop diet.
And
she's tiny though, so her weight can be small, if you get what I mean.
Like it basically was an apple for breakfast.
You did it?
Yeah, I did it for like
how long?
Like a while. Like, and my mum attempted it, but I was like, so basically
you did it for a while.
I did it for a while. Like it was like maybe a year ago after a breakup.
A year ago?
Yeah, like and so basically it was like, okay, so an apple for breakfast. Then it's a sweet potato for lunch. And then for dinner, it's a
protein shake?
A protein shake. But the thing is, to do this, I was going around school times.
Yeah.
Right? So to do this, I would eat my apple for lunch and then my sweet potato when I got home and then my shake for dinner. So I just wouldn't eat.
So you wouldn't have breakfast and
I wouldn't have I wouldn't have breakfast, started from lunch. And then, the
thing about the IU diet is I saw a video saying it's not even been verified that IU did that. And for those who don't know, she's a K-pop singer. She's a soloist. And K-pop is an interesting topic too in terms of size. It doesn't damage on me too, being in K-pop and seeing these girls are so skinny and they're scrutinized so much. If they put on weight, they get not cancelled because... they don't get cancelled, but they get hate. Oh, she put on so much weight. She's not as pretty as she was before, and there's stuff like that.
And there's a thing where the camera actually puts fat onto you as well. So when you're thinking these people are very small on the camera, they're even smaller in real life,
and they get praised so much when they lose weight. And I think growing up in like watching K-pop and stuff, it's also the fashion as well. Like incorporates into it because even an artist, she was saying it's not that we have to be thin for thin sake, but it's because the clothes look better on us. Things like that kind of rhetoric and
that sells.
And a lot of teen girls are into K-pop. Now K-pop's been around for a while, so it's more like early adults too. But when I was in K-pop in 2018, that is when I think I also started viewing, like year 7, I don't know why I was viewing my weight not too good. Then I got into K-pop in year 8 and then I was like, okay, skinny. In my head it's like the words gotta be thin, gotta be skinny, like subconsciously it's like embedded. And this is why media is so important and what you show is so important because it reaches everywhere. It hits the music industry, it hits the film industry and stuff like that.
We even talked about social media, Instagram,
yeah,
TikTok.
It's so
I feel like it used to be a safe environment. Instagram used to be a safe environment. Now it's just not like a clout thing, but everyone is posting their best.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
I remember back in like when I was younger, I used to post on it just to like I would be posting. I think I had like so many posts, but it was like just me, just happiness.
Yeah.
But now it's like bikini picture.
Yeah.
This outfit looks nice. This location looks nice. And it's not like...
It's not authentic.
It's scheduled. It feels...
So I was going to say, how do you think the fashion industry has impacted your body image specifically? If you don't mind saying.
I feel like it's impacted in a not good way. Not good way.
Do you think it's a continuous impact too? So maybe if you're feeling better about your body, you go on social media and you're like, okay, I don't look like that.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I get to that point, I think I go onto Pinterest and I look to see if there's anything that maybe, like, if I can find a person that looks similar to me in like their clothes.
So it forces you off the app. Let's say Instagram.
Yeah, it forces me off the app.
Into another app.
To then look for people my size, but which I can never. I'm still struggling to find like a person that's my similar body shape with what clothes they're wearing and still looking good. Because it's just, I'm not comfortable. It's like I have these clothes, and the thing is, if I get too big, then I realize that my clothes don't fit, and I don't want to be paying more money to then get bigger clothes that I might shrink, that like I might lose weight in that. So I'm a fluctuator. I go up and down. I don't think I've always been between a size 10. No, I used to be size 12 to maybe 14. And then there was a session where I went down to 10. And so none of my clothes fit. But now I've gone to 14. Yeah. And like none of my clothes are fitting now. So it's like, I don't want to have to buy new clothes.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think this is another thing. It's not just about being like, okay, we're going to be inclusive. It means more inclusive of all body types and shapes, the way your body shapes too. So like, if you don't know, there's different types of body shapes. People can have like a square shape, a triangular shape, an apple shape, an hourglass shape. People are trying to strive, I think, for hourglass. But that's not everyone has an hourglass shaped body, and not even exercise can do anything to make it hourglass. So it's even moving away from let's say the hourglass figure, which is what is like the big boob, small waist, big bum kind of thing that we see now. Even my friend, she was saying, oh, now Fashion Nova, that's all the models on Fashion Nova. So you think, oh, it's okay to be more curvy, but I have to be curvy in that type of way. But that's not true. You can have any kind of shape. That's what we want the fashion industry to move towards. So then I think it also goes back to there's only one certain body shape that photographers or stylists know how to style. So then what happens is, I read that models will get on set and they'll say, you don't fit my clothes, like what's going on, like you're too big, like that's so bad. I think more like in 2010s, like 2000s, 1990s, because I feel like if you did that now, because of social media now, it's easy.
It would get out, probably ruin your career,
and it would ruin someone's career. But that was what was happening.
But I think there are different ways to express that now. So it might be like you might not get paid enough, like you'll be cut or something. Like it's not going to be said. So like that specific creator or fashion artist gets shut down, because the internet, the thing is, the youth will come and fight the people, but
they're not going to shut down.
They're not going to shut it down, but they're not. They're hiding it. I feel like nowadays, and it's not being produced as much as previous,
like they're not hating as much.
Yeah, they're not hating
in
as
real
much.
time.
But it's like it might be they're hating in a different way, but we don't know.
Yeah. I get what you mean. Like, because I think what they know how to shoot is like tall, thin bodies, for example, photographers, or the way they know how to place their bodies, and they're not making the effort, but maybe they just don't. Not that I don't know. I feel like when you're a photographer, you should be able to shoot everyone. Yeah. But then what happens is, as you were saying, I think I really like resonate with what you're saying. Different body types. It's, you see the clothes on that model, it looks gorgeous on her, and it comes back to you, and you look like it doesn't look good on you.
Because you know what? They use the clips.
And it's also let's talk about that.
It's so edited on that person, onto that model for their body type. But when you actually get the clothes, it just doesn't fit you at all. Like, it may say your measurements, but it will still be miles away, because they won't show how much they're actually clipping. I feel like there should be a disclaimer on the websites or on the fashion.
No, but they would lose money.
Yeah, but
It's all back to capitalism.
Yeah.
You've got to sell the product. And which is so interesting because there obviously will be money in plus size representation and mid-size representation because the people are going to buy the clothes that fit. But I don't know, everything is, I kind of read kind of contrast because at the end of the day, a lot of it is opinion.
Yeah.
And because again, it's really personal sizing and body types, but there's money in it. If money's an excuse, they're lying because they can make money. People will pay for things that fits them. People will pay for things they feel confident in and they love. But just to quickly wrap this up, what do you think they can do to have a more positive, the industry can do to have a more positive impact on body image as well as become more size inclusive?
But like the fashion industry definitely they just need to not give up. I feel like they've given up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like why in this day and age we're just do it.
So Gen Z are change makers.
Yeah.
So let's just say from this thing, we're saying make more sample patterns that are more inclusive.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to production too. Make sure your stylists, your photographers, they know how to shoot different body types, the lighting that works, the way to tailor, like, because obviously not everyone's going to fit the clothes on set, but make sure they know they have the right amount of clothes. They've got clothes for everyone. Then we've got to make sure the models, not just one type of plus size body, but mid-size and plus size, every type of body too, like different body shapes comes into it too. Make sure they're all on set as much as you can, because you also have to have models audition too. So if the models are not pulling through, but they might not be pulling through because they don't feel like it's a safe environment. So that's another thing, making sure people feel comfortable on set and they feel good.
And less photoshopping as well.
That's
less
photoshopping. Because you always see like when the model posts on their Instagram,
so different,
and then the magazine or the brand one, they've touched it up, and that would make me cry.
Like, I'm not saying no Photoshop, like color adjust, color gradient, whatever. But like you don't need to be cinched.
Yeah,
the clothes don't need to, like, you're painting on a canvas with models are basically canvases. They're meant to be blank canvases, right? However, you're not gonna you wouldn't have one type of canvas, right? So I'm saying, like, you wouldn't amend that canvas to look like a different canvas. You should just focus on what you're painting on. Try and make that painting as best as you can make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, if you're gonna clothe a curvier girl, make sure she feels comfortable. Make sure she looks the best that she
take
can.
her measurements beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, like,
maybe
I
like
don't
add the extra. You know,
I don't see why that's so hard. Like, I was reading, though, the stylist will be like, you don't fit my clothes. You didn't take her measurements beforehand to find out what clothes she can fit into. How is it her fault that you don't have the right amount of clothes? And a lot of models dropped out because of the treatment they had on set.
It just shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
And it's been made into such a difficult thing that I think they're just now shying away from it completely. Like, it's like they're stubborn now.
Yeah. And people say, like, for example, with Victoria's Secret, the whole point was that they're tall and skinny. So why should we be more inclusive to more bodies for the Victoria's Secret show specifically? But I don't think it's right to have that mentality to say, okay, we want to showcase one type of body.
And you know what? I'm going to call out, Victoria's Secret, because I know every girl wanted to shop at Victoria's Secret when they were younger. But you know what? I'm looking at their clothes, polyester, 100% polyester, not 100%, but majority of it is polyester. And I feel like if you're that high of a fashion brand, why are you creating, these clothes should be, good quality. Yeah. I'm not gonna say, how am I buying underwear that is, it's meant to be breathable, like
it's not good quality.
It's not, these are fashion brands that we look up to and we expect them to be at a place, but people don't look at labels anymore. Yeah. And they just expect it to be in a good situation, but it's not in a good situation. So
brands do better.
I've
got to wrap it up there for the sake of everything. But if you enjoyed this topic, we could definitely talk about more. We'll definitely have Bryanna back in the studio.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
You talk about more topics. If you've got any opinions, I don't know if this is gonna be on TikTok. This part, I don't know. drop a message somewhere.
Add to the comments. Subscribe.
Subscribe. Follow us.
This has been Michaela.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone. Hope you have a great day or night wherever you are right now.
Yeah. And be positive.
Be positive.
Body suck. Clothing sucks.
Oh, I was gonna say bodies.
No, body sucks. Clothing sucks. So you just feel just do you because nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect.
And it's in the end of the day, you only live once.
Yes.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. So thank you, everyone.